After months of nail-biting campaigning, Election Day has finally arrived. Now, we know that Donald Trump will not accept the election results if he loses. Is that the candidate that you're comfortable supporting? Somebody who won't accept defeat and who is willing to subvert the rule of law and attack democracy just to save face? Vice President Kamala Harris represents the antidote to this anti-American rebellion. She's the right candidate at the right moment, and if you vote for her, she will make history as the first female president to win the Electoral College. Democrats don't cheat in elections. They don't need to. In fact, election fraud in the USA is negligible. It hardly exists. And there are literally no immigrants voting illegally in our elections either. All of this is propaganda created by Trump and his henchmen to scare people into voting for them. Create a problem, then claim to fix it. Classic bait and switch. Trump literally tried to overturn the last election in 2020, and now he's claiming that Democrats cheat? Do me a favor. It's like the myth that Republicans are better for the economy. The US economy has performed much better under Democratic presidents than Republican ones in the modern era. In almost every measure of the US economy, including total job growth, unemployment, economic growth, manufacturing job growth, manufacturing investment, small business creation, and contribution to the national debt, economic performance is stronger under Democrats. Republicans have prioritized tax cuts that benefit the wealthy and that fail to boost economic growth or pay for themselves, while Democrats have prioritized investing in the middle class, supporting small business, and improving economic resilience after downturns. Of the 11 recessions in the modern era, 10 have begun under Republican presidents. Donald Trump's plan for the economy is all based on his tariffs that will be paid for by American consumers. His plan has been rubbished by every respected economist as a complete joke. Looking at the last 7 presidents, job growth totaled over 50 million under Democratic presidents compared to only 17 million under Republican ones. Most recently, job growth has totaled nearly 16.2 million under the Biden-Harris administration, and the US economy has recovered from the pandemic recession. Conversely, there were 2.7 million fewer Americans employed when Donald Trump left office than at the beginning of his term, making him the first president in the modern era to oversee net job losses. The US national debt has increased significantly over the last 2 decades, largely due to partisan tax cuts passed by Republican presidents that disproportionately benefited the wealthy and big corporations. Presidents Joe Biden and Donald Trump both approved spending packages that were necessary to counteract the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, but Trump approved far more non-pandemic related increases to the debt. Most of these increases were approved as part of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which largely benefited the wealthiest Americans and large corporations. Republican presidents often inherit strong economies and leave their successors with significantly weaker ones. For example, President George W. Bush inherited a strong economy from Bill Clinton, and his presidency ended with the Great Recession. The disgraced former President Trump inherited the longest continuous run of job creation in modern U.S. history from President Barack Obama, but became the first president in the modern era to oversee net job losses during his term. This is the reality. Democrats are better for the economy and immigrants aren't to blame for all of America's problems. In fact, refugees and asylum seekers contributed an estimated $581 billion in revenue to federal, state, and local governments last year. They contributed an estimated $363 billion to the federal government through payroll, income, and excise taxes, and $218 billion to state and local governments through income, sales, and property taxes. Donald Trump is a disaster. He divided the nation, caused unnecessary deaths of hundreds of thousands with his disastrous handling of COVID. He added $7.8 trillion of gross federal debt, more than any other president in history. He's a convicted felon waiting for sentencing in 2 weeks' time, who has promised to dismantle the administrative and regulatory state, deport 15 million migrants, and ban Muslims from entering the country. And with his planned federal abortion ban, Trump is shaping up to be one of the worst dictators in history. But not if you don't vote for him. This is a special election because it requires everybody to vote for the future of the nation as a priority. Even if you're a conservative, vote for Harris. If you're a libertarian, vote for Harris. Because if Trump wins, we'll be experiencing something that Americans aren't prepared for and arguably have never experienced. Regime change. Regime change involves the transformation of the type of political system, whereas governmental change involves the replacement of individual leaders or political parties as we're used to. Throughout its history, the United States has used its military and covert operations to overthrow or prop up foreign governments in the name of preserving U.S. strategic and business interests. But this year, we're talking about regime change in the United States if Donald Trump wins the election. His plans to rebuild the USA in his image means deconstructing it first, firing tens of thousands of civil servants and replacing them with Trump loyalists who subscribe to his far-right Christian nationalist, anti-women, anti-minorities rhetoric. Regime change will see America rewind progress, rights and freedoms to a time before Roe v. Wade was enshrined into law the first time in 1973. And then there's the chance that Trump or J.D. Vance won't leave. Last week, Trump said that he regretted leaving the White House in 2021 and that he should have stayed, resisting the peaceful transfer of power and Joe Biden's legitimate win. Is that the guy you want in power? This is my final opportunity to appeal to you to vote for the America that I emigrated to, a nation of opportunity, diversity, and humanity, a nation that celebrates its democracy. Trump lies about everything. He's incoherent, incompetent, and idiotic. He hates democracy, he hates fair elections, and most of all, he hates the very people that support him.
Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
He's a contemptuous pig with his snout in the trough, enriching himself whilst talking down on America. George Orwell's message in his book 1984 was to be aware of the potential problems that could arise if people did not pay attention to their government's attempts to control them. With Trump in the White House, 1984 will become our reality. Proof that power and tyranny are made possible through the use of words and how they are mediated. Let's not fall into Trump's tyrannical trap. Let's vote to love who we love, to marry who we want to marry, to practice the religion we choose, and for our right to choose, and for our choices not to affect our status as patriotic Americans. If I could vote, I'd vote for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. I implore you to do the same. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me here on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.